Champions are back at home, a first Amy Park game of the new season for Melbourne City against Perth Glory in the Isuzu Ute A-League Men's. And for the first time in the league since hoisting the Champions Trophy at the end of last season, Melbourne City are looking to continue their role against the Glory. Let's take a look at how they line up. Two ins, debutant Liam Bonatic and also Matthew Leckie and Nathaniel Atkinson and also Ben Mazzeo. Coming from the Champions League side, no Elbasan Rashani or Samuel Suprayan. Soft tissue injuries for both mean that they could be missing up to a month each, which is costly. And taking a look at the Perth Glory lineup, they have no changes to the starting 11 that drew 2-2 at home against the Wellington Phoenix last week, but a totally new look bench. Warner, Shamoon, Timmins, Suleimani and Labib all weren't there last weekend, but they have been entrusted with spots in the subs for David Strilich's team. There's Aurelio Vidmar, and he's exchanging pre-game pleasantries with fellow former Socceroo David Strilich. Certainly the Glory will be hoping that they can continue the goal-scoring form that was on show in the first 30 minutes of the season at home last week. As we have kickoff in round 2 of the Isuzu Ute A-League Men's, Melbourne City against Perth Glory from Amy Park. And Phil Moss, the defending champions, are back at home for the first time this season. And they'll be hoping that the AFC Champions League form they found midweek can roll into the weekend.
Well, they need to make sure they're not hoping and that they're believing, because they're the hunted this season. Teo, great to be alongside you for this one. And of course, first opportunity to really build on that confidence that the midweek win will give them.
Great interplay to begin with. Coen, a cut across. O'Neill able to fashion his clearance so that it didn't veer towards his own net. Melbourne City in the groove straight from kickoff. They've started sharp here. Kanamori a big factor in that. And he's just a little late here trying to win the ball back. But Coen, the Austrian, now gets some help from Socceroo, as is Bayage. Patrick Beach, never afraid to roam out of his penalty area and join the defence. On this occasion, a long ball is the solution. The flag stays down for now as it arrives with Caputo in the middle. All eyes turn to the assistant referee, but the flag does stay down. And Max Caputo's rising star continues to shoot up. It's 1-0 to City in the first 5 minutes.
Well, we're starting to lose superlatives for Max Caputo and the season that he's starting to build at the top of the Melbourne City attack. An easy finish for the youngster, but really it was here where on the Harvey Norman replay you can see how flat Perth Glory are, and I think that's okay. Max Caputo, no problem there, and no problem from the first pass because it didn't go to him. And that is a very flat, high line from Perth Glory. And they played against that last week with Wellington. Now they've fallen into their own trap. And Melbourne City have said, thank you very much. We'll take the lead nice and early.
Well, it was a good confident finish past the on-rushing Matt Sutton. Matthew Leckie gets the assist. And Caputo, left foot, right foot, headers. He does it all. He is a finisher. And that is 2 in 2 to start the Isuzu Ute A-League season. Just keep an eye on Adam Taggart here as Perth Glory work down the left. Wales is going to be outpointed on the flank. Crowd show their appreciation for the one-on-one defending of Ferreira because he's started this counter-attack. And how about Leckie with a second burst there? And now Quen in space to distribute. He finds Kanamori. Takeshi Kanamori. He ignored his teammates in the box and decided top right was the idea, and he's put it high.
Well, it was Matseo on the back post here as Leckie drives into midfield. Look at that. Just a little shimmy to get round his defender. Then he brings Cohen into the game. There's the pass to Kanamori. And look at that on the far post. Look at Matseo. All on his own. Kanamori goes for the far top corner instead.
Got to give credit to Kanamori because he's won a corner. There was a deflection. As is Bajic taking the corners from both sides. In swing into the far post, and O'Neill got up. And so started at the top of the box and made an unmarked run, but O'Neill was in between two City attackers.
Well, he got free because of the blocking. All the other players, I beg your pardon, taking the defenders away. Matseo left on all on his own on the edge of the box and made that deep run. As you can see, Perth setting up zonally with 3-man markers, 4-man markers around that far post area. That's what can happen when you have some players zonally. There's some free runners.
Out-swinging corner, first head City with a spectacular leap from a couple of players. Bajic gets a second chance, drops the shoulder on Kaczarski. Matseo, an unmarked header. And safety first, coming from the Glory defence as Risdon puts it behind.
They're defending these set pieces just Perth Glory. The more they give away, the more pressure that builds. As is Bajic with a smart ball to the far post to Matseo, who does the right thing and tries to head it back across goal.
So 3 corners in quick succession. Perth making a defensive stand here. City looking to double their lead. Near post this time, batted away by Sutton. Bajic will get a second ball. Creates some space, but his cross is blocked. And now back into the mix of Caputo. Well, he's barely touched the ball since opening the scoring, but he just knows where to put himself, and he very nearly had a goal-bound touch.
He does, and like all good strikers, he never switches off. Always alert to the opportunities that may present themselves. As Bajic whips it in, and then the ball's just put into that area, and look at Caputo, he's only millimetres away.
Now he might turn provider for Leckie. Blocked by O'Neill. That was vital. And then a spectacular attack at the ball from German Ferreira, but he attacked it very much like a defender. And he put it well wide.
Gee, I'm hearing a sigh, a massive collective sigh from the defenders union, Teo. All defenders think that they're a chance of scoring a goal in those areas.
Kaczarski's looking a little proppy as he swings it across. Despotovsky is up and it's looping out, but Perth having a brighter minute. Let's see if they can sustain it.
Well, he's stretching his groin as well, Kaczarski. That's not a good sign. Either there he goes holding it just before he delivers that. It's a good sign that he can deliver a ball like that while holding his groin.
Here's Leckie. Kanamori. Loose touch and can't stick the return pass. O'Neill in a lather though. Leckie, he slips as well. Park surface, not doing too many favours over the last couple of minutes for players. Kaltak, he's had a slip. Caputo's in, round the keeper, and he finishes! Max Caputo's flying start to the season continues, and he capitalises on a bit of a disaster for the Glory. Melbourne City's return to Amy Park in the A-League is going to script so far. It's 2-0.
Well, what about the awareness from Max Caputo here as Perth Glory just bring themselves undone? Brian Kaltak, usually safe as a bank at the back on the Harvey Norman replay, just under-hits his back pass. And again, maybe you're just a little bit uncertain about this pitch, but Max Caputo goes around Sutton and then goes high and hard to make sure that ball nestles in the back of the Perth Glory net for his second of the afternoon. Wonderful awareness from Max Caputo, wonderful execution, and he can hardly believe his luck. Two of the simplest goals he'll score in his career. He sensed that if Melbourne City get a third, it'll be a mountain too high to climb.
Atkinson body checked in the build-up, advantage given. Trewin, it sits up for Andy Quinn! Just wide.
Well, he looked up and assessed his options there, Cohen, and he had, I think it was Kanamori on his outside, on the left-hand side. Decided to go at himself. There's Kanamori. You can see he was expecting him to roll him in, and then Quinn just caught everyone by surprise going for that far bottom corner. Certainly had Sutton stretching for it.
Here's Wales. Ball kept away from Blair in the build-up. Osler's cross. And a volley shot on sight coming from Despotovsky. O'Neill. And up goes Blair. Sliding off target as the goalkeeper raked it in. Beach, a bit of a higher clearance this time. Driven sort of pass we've become used to seeing in this first half. Leckie, Quinn, again receiving the ball in space. It allows him to distribute. Kanamori to the underlapping run of Bayage. Great little sidestep, left, Kaltak behind. And that was nearly a first half hat-trick for Max Caputo. He's been foiled. And the argument is there was a Glory touch, but it's gone down as a goal kick.
Oh, it's a wonderful passage of play, as is Bayage. How many times have we seen him for club and country make these sort of runs into the opposition penalty box? Brilliant trickery, brilliant awareness, great dribbling ability. And then he tries to pick out Max Caputo. He wasn't far off.
It's not like City haven't left the door ajar with Patrick Beach high off his line. A couple of clearances at the last moment, a couple of loose touches. We've seen Glory perhaps 3 or 4 occasions, not that particular attack, but they have been able to create. Really, Vidmar's seen enough. He wants to get down to the rooms. And Ali Reza Fagani agrees. The halftime whistle goes, and Max Caputo's start to the Isuzu Ute A-League season continues to be full of goals. His first half double has Melbourne City well and truly in command. Perth Glory subbed out an injured Jaden Kucharski in the first half, which has robbed them of one of their attacking weapons, and they're going to need to find something special. Matthew Leckie's got the bit between the teeth today. He looks like he's in Socceroos form. And David Zdrilic has a halftime team talk for the Glory to try and help them out of a big hole, because at present it's Melbourne City 2 leading Perth Glory 0. Glory with it all to do, and Melbourne City looking good to post their first league win of the season and keep the momentum rolling after a win in the AFC Champions League Elite during the week. Here is Matt Sutton. The long clearance for the Glory. Atkinson heads it down. Leckie. Block tackle coming in. No backward steps from Bozanovsky, even though he's carrying a yellow card from the first half. Despotovsky takes a strike. It's only his third A-League appearance today. He's still looking for that breakthrough first goal. Taggart was trying to get a glancing header going for one of his strike partners in Despotovsky, but no such luck. Leckie loves playing against the Glory ever since coming back from his time in Europe. Matthew Leckie is up to 4 head-to-head goals against them. It's his second most prolific opponent. This time, though, he wants to lay it off. Matseo, one-on-one against his defender. And the groans from the crowd tell the story.
Oh, he had to do better there, Matseo. He did so well to cut inside and make his half a yard to get the strike away, but the far post was gaping. And he went too central, and in the end, lifted it over the crossbar. But as he cuts inside here, look at the far post there. Brian Kaltak hadn't got back quickly enough to cover the far post. This will be a great angle. I think the far post is his better option.
Through ball here. It's going to be swept onto with a deflected cross. That takes any danger out of it. Suleimani with his first touch over on the right side on the end of Freeney's pass.
It was his first touch, yes, and we've got to give him time to get into the game, but it was just hesitant. Instead of having real intent to drive a ball into a good area, Suleimani was just too careful. And by that stage, Melbourne City have been able to close the space, get his head down and get a deflection on it to take the danger out of the delivery.
Talk us through it again, Mossy.
Well, this is good play from Perth. You know, that's good intent, that's a good driving run. And Suleimani gets on the ball here, and you can see he had the chance to deliver it with more purpose. A little bit earlier, just a touch earlier. By the time he did, Melbourne City were able to deal with it.
Perth remain on the attack. Whipped in here for Wales. Nathaniel Atkinson's outpointed him again. And there was hustle from Matteo. At last, Glory, their first corner, their first set piece. We've barely seen any of Scott Wootton or Brian Kaltak crossing the halfway line. Now they can.
Oh, and that's decent delivery, and this is one of the rare times we've actually seen Lachie Wales in the opposition box, getting into those advanced areas. And lo and behold, it's a set piece that they get. So the ball's clearly over the line. Good officiating.
Is this Perth's avenue back into the contest? Freeney, outswinger, first header. Scott Wootton's first taste of the attacking penalty area today, and he did win the header.
Yeah, it's good delivery from Will Freeney. Wootten attacks it. Doesn't really get the purchase on the header that he was looking for.
Right now, Melbourne City professionally closing this one out. Perth hustling, trying, but Strilic motioning from the sidelines as he watches Schreiber! Oh, goodness me! What a goal! Zane Schreiber! He has taken 30 games to break through for an Isuzu Ute A-League goal, and it was worth the wait.
Well, what an absolute screamer from Zane Schreiber. On the Harvey Norman replay, they link up in midfield, and look at Schreiber. He sees the space opening up. It got a little bit of a bobble, which made it even sweeter for him to strike, which we'll see on this replay here. Look at that, just bobbling a little bit. That allows him to really put his laces through it and find the far top corner with an absolutely outstanding strike and a goal that will no doubt be in his top 5 by the end of his career. Outstanding strike from the substitute. And what a way to put an exclamation mark on this game for Melbourne City.
Caputo's been sitting on a hat-trick for the best part of an hour, but hasn't really had a great look in this second half. Here, the clash of shin guards as Freeney comes away with possession. Able to nudge it on here. Perth stay on the attack. Suleimani back to Freeney. Just wide. Oh, that would have been good reward for a bit of enterprise at the end of the game, but it hasn't been Perth's day.
No, it hasn't. This is probably the most enterprising attack of the game, really. They've worked that quite well. the substitutes. And that's what you want from your bench, is some impact. Two of them combine.
Kanamori still working. Romani jags inside. It's Cavi and Romani! It just gets better and better and better! Cavi and Romani, in game 24 of his A-League career, has uncorked something truly special, and Melbourne City have finished this game with a pair of goals you could only dream of.
What a finish on the Harvey Norman replay. Cavi and Romani, he drives inside, and once again he sees the space and he sees a gaping far post. There's nothing Sutton can do about it, but he receives the ball here, and it's Caltac that he goes past. Very pedestrian again from Caltac, and that is some strike from Romani. And anyone around the world who dials in to the A-League will be seeing world-class goals happening week in, week out over the first 2 weeks of this competition. Quite remarkable. Max Caputo, Battolato, and now this man, Cavi and Romani. Outstanding.
And tell you what, Alex Battolato, if he's not watching live, his phone's probably going off saying, mate, are you even going to get on the podium for goal of the week? You scored the most mind-blowing hat-trick last night, and now one game later, contenders appearing from everywhere.
It's outrageous, isn't it? It really is. And don't forget Battolato last week in the F3 Derby, scoring a worldie as well. What quality we're seeing in these first 2 rounds of goals.
There's the Paramount Plus player index, so the underlying numbers loving the double of Max Caputo. We'll revisit the Paramount Plus player index in post-game.
And I'm going to give a call out with my coach's cap on to coaches, because they're the ones that give these young players the confidence to back themselves. A lot of work would have been done in pre-season.
Stoppage time nearly expired. The Glory are going to have time for one corner. See if they can lead with a goal. Melbourne City came into today on a run of 14 consecutive scored against Perth Glory over 3 games. It's about to be 18 goals without reply over 4 games, unless the Glory can score right here. Can they at least take that unwanted stat off the books with the last kick of the game? Here's Freeney's corner. A high looping ball, Bozanovsky. And it's going to come down just beyond the line, out for a goal kick. And it's met by the full-time whistle. Melbourne City, the champions of the A-League, back at home at Amy Park in the league for the first time this season. They have given their fans a show. 20-year-old striker Max Caputo with a double to get it started. And then 2 mind-blowing highlights. Zane Schreiber's first A-League goal was worth the wait. 30th game for him. And then Cavi and Romani said, anything you can do, I can equal. And in stoppage time, he netted for the first time in the Isuzu Ute A-League men's as well. The champions are in rude health early in the campaign.